Hello friends, it's Kayla. I spent the last week reading haunted house books and I took you along with me. I am always in search of the perfect haunted house book, and I feel like what I'm looking for in haunted house books are not what other people are always looking for, because I pick up ones that are highly acclaimed and they just don't go well. I need the scares and I need the substance. So of course, rather than looking for recommendations, I just picked up some brand new releases because that always goes well. Here's what you'll find me reading in this vlog. Withered, Grim Root, We Used to Live Here, and then I picked up a novella from a couple years ago called You Should Have Left. The only haunted house adjacent book that I've ever given 5 stars is House of Leaves. So here's like a tier ranking of everything that I've read that would fit into this haunted house category. The Good House, The Shining, The Hacienda, fantastic books. These are all horror hauntings that are at the top of my personal recommendation list. Then like Spite House, Beloved, Episode 13, The Grip of It either weren't the perfect example of haunted houses or were 3 stars. And then there's a lot that just didn't work for me but do for other people. 12 Nights at Rotter House, Tell Me I'm Worthless, Kill Creek, The Haunting of Hill House, Diavola, Theme Music, How to Sell a Haunted House, Just Like Home, September House, A House with Good Bones, and Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Some of these are absolutely some of the most unique concepts for haunted houses, but either they just didn't land for me for whatever reason. And these are all singular location books. I've liked other books that are set in larger areas. If we count haunted towns, maybe The Haunting of Velkwood I could put in the top category confidently. When the Reckoning Comes, I could put up there. Ling Han was very good. If we consider the Book of Accidents a haunted house story, it would be near the bottom. Is Mexican Gothic a haunted house story? That would be in the middle for me. And if I could in good conscience call Home Before Dark a proper haunted house book, it would be high up. Same with the Handyman Method, but I don't know about that designation. So that's where my tier ranking currently sits. Maybe I've forgotten some things, I hope not, but we'll see where these ones all lie. I've also DNF'd a lot of haunted house books in my day. And I'll give you some spoilers because at this point I've already been reading them all. One of these does end up in the bottom tier and one of them in the top. Without further ado, let's get on to the vlog. Hello friends, we are currently in line to get on the ferry. We have like an hour wait and I'm excited because we ended up getting crumbl cookies on the way here. I didn't know if we'd have time to stop, but we did. This vacation that we're about to be on for a week on Vancouver Island was a completely last minute plan. Last summer I said we were not going back to the island. I hate waiting for the ferries. I hate all the delays. I hate everything. And so I booked something, since this is a haunted house vlog, that felt a little haunted. That was in the Kootenays and we were going to go to some ghost towns, but unfortunately that whole area that we were going to is on fire and the places we were going to stay are obviously unavailable. People are in fear of losing their homes, which is devastating. So we ended up planning a trip to the island instead. And we're staying in a lot of different places because it was so last minute that like all of the vacation rentals were only one night. So we'll be popping around. The first thing that I brought is this novella called You Should Have Left by Daniel Kelman. And it says, a screenwriter, his wife, and their 4-year-old daughter rent a house in the mountains of Germany, but something isn't right. As he toils on a sequel to his most successful movie, the screenwriter notices the rooms aren't where he remembers them and finds in his notebook words that are not his own. This sounds like exactly the vibe that I need. So I'm going to be reading this maybe while we're on the ferry. I'm not totally sure. First, we need to do a taste test of this week's crumbl. By the time you see this, it's no longer this week's crumbl, but I haven't looked at it yet. We have, oh my God, look how big this one is. It's like, even you can see it. So there's a strawberry ice cream, there's a mint chocolate chip, there's just a regular chocolate chip, there's a monster M&M, this is a Belgian, German, something chocolate cake, and then a blueberry. And this time I was really prepared for this crumbl trip. I brought Tupperware to put these, or Rubbermaid to put these in afterwards so I don't have to haul this box around. And I even have a cooler in the back. So we're gonna taste test them all together. Okay, the strawberry ice cream is dense.
So it has strawberry on the inside. Oh, damn. We're late, we're late. Do it quick.
This is so good.
All right, cheers.
Oh my God. What?
That's better than all last time.
Oh my God.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That is a 10 out of 10.
That's phenomenal. So this one, just so you guys know, isn't real mint. It's mint flavor.
Hold on.
8 out of 10.
I don't like chocolate and mint, so 4 out of 10.
I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's good. So here's half of this one. It's M&M chocolate chip, but she is a thick one.
It's-
peanut butter.
I was gonna say it's peanut butter.
This is a blueberry. Blueberries are in season because they're everywhere right
We
now
just
here.
saw so many signs.
They have just bins of them over there.
Really?
People are walking around eating like popcorn.
None of us are big blueberry fans, but it's a blueberry dessert, so how could you go wrong? Damn.
I'll cut this one in half and I'll take half of this one.
9 out of 10. Really? That one was like a 5
Yeah.
for me.
Edges are bad.
It's a normal cookie. Double layer.
Oh my god.
It's
It tastes like a cake, which is not why I go to crumbl cookies. It's coconut too, I don't like it.
that wasn't down the hatch.
It's alright.
Oh, that was way softer than I thought it would be.
6.5 out of 10.
Alright. I'm giving that one like a 4. This was not my favorite crumbl cookie, but I've only had it twice. Thank you for being here for our cookie review. Appreciate you a lot. I'm sweating. We're at a place called Glass Beach. I'm trying to find sea glass.
They're not.
Apparently it's here. God, I found a piece. Oh, wow.
I found the best ones and the most.
I agree.
We have made it to our vacation spot. Check it out. Before I tell you about the book, I just want to tell you, this is all I've ever wanted. Going to the ocean and finding sea glass. I found little pieces over time, and like maybe you look at these and you think these aren't the most, you know, okay, hold on, smooth pieces ever or the biggest pieces ever. Like there are people who do sea glass TikTok and they go to the most beautiful beaches and they find the most beautiful stuff. This I'm still just like very happy about. There's everything all laid out. Do you love it? Are you so happy for me? I didn't even show you the biggest piece I found as we were leaving.
Whoa, that's
The one I found, right?
No. Oh, he's eating it. I found one book so far, and that's it. And it's Rick Mercer, Talking to Canadians, a memoir. Okay, this is gonna be my quickest review ever. And I think it really is fitting that this is the first thing that I read, and I kind of hated it because this is my experience with a lot of haunted house books. I want to love them, and even if they sound like exactly something that I would like, this you could call a mix of The Shining and House of Leaves. You could call it that, but it just doesn't meet those expectations whatsoever. And that's with so many haunted house books, and I can't figure out exactly what I want from them, what I don't want from them, so this week is just an exploration of that. This is translated by Ross Benjamin, which I didn't know that it was translated from German. And I was gonna say, maybe it's the translation, maybe it just didn't land, but so many people have absolutely loved this book and this edition of it. So it must just be me. I don't really even get what this book was. I read the first half twice because I was like, surely this makes more sense than I'm currently understanding. It's not just short, but the margins are huge. So it went by very quickly, and it is about this man and his family, and you're getting little portions of the screenplay that he's writing, but it gets cut off a lot. It's very vague, it's stilted, and he's seeing, like, it's like a psychological haunting, like he is experiencing scary things that to me, I wouldn't say are scary to the reader, but other people disagree. I think this is the least horror book I've read in a while. And I truly can't even tell you what the plot was. Like, I don't understand what I just read. I did not like any bit of my time reading this, but that's okay. The rest of the day is good. We went to, what's it called? What was the dinner place called? Shirley? Surly, the Surly Mermaid, which I thought was a very amazing name for a restaurant. And now we're gonna go on our family walk. It's currently gonna be super high tide, so we're not gonna be able to actually walk by the beach, but I'll see what I see. I'm not gonna bring you with me, but I'll see you when I see you. And I think I'm gonna start the other horror book that I brought with me later. I also have the audiobook, so maybe that'll be a good experience while we're on this trip. We'll see. Good morning. We're walking down to the beach. Liam just fell. We booked a place that was close to the beach so we could walk down. It's not quite low tide, but we just like to wake up and look for crabs and things. I started my book. We used to live here, and I've read the first like 20% because I picked up the audiobook, and then I realized there was pretty things inside to look at. And it's basically just about this couple, these two women who live in this house. And this family shows up and they're like, the dad is like, I used to live here. I want to show my family around this house. And it's a little uncomfortable. And then the girl, the daughter of the family, is like hiding. And so they have to stay a little bit longer. And now there's like a snowstorm. So now they have to stay longer. It's reminding me of Leave the World Behind. But I think it's going to be more horror, obviously, than that was. But the opening feels very familiar. Oh, and I've been keeping you up to date on my dreams lately and how like long and thorough and intense they've been. I had another one last night that was all about bugs and like spiders, and I kept finding them. They were like the size of my hand, and I had to keep like grabbing them and squishing their heads in my dream. I don't know why that was my goal. And then I picked up this book and I started it, and it's not like a bug book. I don't think the insect is like the horror, but there have been a couple scenes about ants and little insects occasionally, and it's like, it's too close to my dream, especially because in both of these horror books they've talked about the fact that these houses like could be used or are used as rental, like vacation rentals, and we're staying in vacation rental. This one obviously does not feel very haunted in any way, but the next one has a little more of those vibes. Okay, we're eating breakfast right here, and somehow right next to it is a place called Haunted Books, the Haunted Bookshop, which is weird.
Walking around with nothing in my mind. No phone calls in reality, never to find. So look, I don't need your acceptance, I don't need your love. Yeah, I got caverns in my head, I'm lost in the darkness, wait, then show me the sun.
Hello and welcome to our haunted accommodation. There's nothing really that haunted about it. It's like a little, what's this called? A barn. But look at the yard. Apparently we can use the tennis court. So that's fun. Let me tell you about my day. You've missed some things. So I ended up going to 4 different bookstores. That haunted one, the Haunted Bookshop, which is named after a book, actually. I took a picture of it. They have one on display, and I was talking to the girl about why it's named that. They named it after a book. It's actually the 2nd book in a series, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's stuff that you could find it on their website too. And I found Glory, which I do already own, by Violet Bulawayo, but I love this cover. I don't know if it's just the paperback or if it's the UK edition or what, but it was only $12. So I got this. And then I went to Tanner's Books, and the thing that I grabbed is All This and More by Peng Shepherd. This one is a used bookstore. This one is, was it all new? I feel like it was all new, which I really wasn't planning on buying full price, but For some reason, this was just calling to me. I actually DNF'd the last Pink Shepherd that I tried to read. And then I went to Monroe Books. I just grabbed a couple short horror books from there. This is Your Shadow Half Remains, which I've heard terrible things about, but a couple people have really loved it. So I hope that I'm one of them. And then Midnight on Beacon Street, again, a lot of people did not like. I also grabbed from that place They Fell Like Stars from the Sky and Other Stories. This is all tales of Palestinian, is it women or people? I grabbed The Truth According to Ember by Danica Neva? I'll figure out how to pronounce that later. And this is a romance that I'm excited to read. I was already planning on buying this one and this one full price, so I would have bought this on my own in my own city. This is Hum by Helen Phillips. Loved the last Helen Phillips that I read, but it's a little unpopular. I also found Evocation there, and I wasn't planning on picking this up until I saw a review from someone. Was it Steph? I feel like I stopped watching her vlog as soon as she mentioned this because I didn't want to learn any more about it. But when she pitched it, not the whole book, so I'm like, I'm not putting words in her mouth, but when she first read the first couple chapters, she said it was reminding her of the adult version of the Raven Cycle. So obviously I had to have it. And then I went to Russell Books. It was used and new, it seemed. It had multiple floors. It's the largest Canadian independent bookstore. I think like that means in size or the amount of books they have, or I don't know, but I grabbed these two. Another kind of time travel woman. Oh no, I grabbed three things because they were having buy two get one free because it was their birthday sale, so that timing worked out really well. This is something I've been thinking about. Another woman reflecting on her past, trying to figure out what she wants out of life. And then the new Belly Ray Belcourt, which is the thickest of all of their, I don't know what to call these, like nonfiction essay collections, manifestos. At least what I read before. This one, I don't know. Is it the same or is it short stories? Either way, I knew I had to have it. And then the last thing that I grabbed is something that people have recommended to me, and that's Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss. I figured I'm doing a haunted vlog. I needed to have something with ghost in the title. So yeah, I definitely did some damage today, and I was starting to film like maybe a shop with me bookstore video slash haul that I could post, but then I walked out of Russell Books and this was my tire. So it popped, and at this point it was like 2 p.m. and everything was, a lot of places were closing and it was really stressful. The last couple hours of our day was not spent as we intended it, but we called first of all, we came out, the tire was flat. There was 2 different men who like didn't even know each other outside of, like sitting outside of these restaurants, and one of them was like, oh, I have a tow truck company, do you need help? And the other guy was like, I change tires all the time, do you need help? And I was like, thank you so much. I actually have BCAA, so I'm gonna call them, see what happens. And then we called them and he showed up so fast and he was so friendly, and he ended up like giving us recommendations for where to travel on the island because like we're so far from home and we don't know anything and anybody. And he then blew up my tire so I could get it to like a tire place so they could fix whatever, like investigate whatever's wrong with it. And he filled it up and I started to drive away and it instantly started deflating. So then he just like, I didn't even notice, he started following me, and he followed me all the way to the tire place that he like told me to go to. And then we pulled up and they were about to close, and they had like 2 people and they were behind, and they were like, oh, we'll just fit you in. And he was like, he just knew like the right place to bring us. I ended up tipping him in the tire place because like everything just worked out, because we don't have a spare in the Jeep. Like the Jeep doesn't come with a spare, and our tires are really weird. Like they're not very common. We called all the tire places, all the Canadian tires, and nobody like had our tire to just put back on. So we took it there and there was a humongous hole. So they ended up plugging it. It was almost too big to plug. And then I think it's like the 5th Canadian tire that we tried, they said they actually happened to have 4 of our exact tire. So now we have to go tomorrow to that place and get all new tires put on, but we're still under warranty. So that worked out. So like, bad scenario, because we were in downtown Victoria and I was like, how is a tow truck even gonna come in here? How is it gonna tow us? How is this all gonna work? And everything just kind of worked out. So tomorrow we're also gonna have to spend a little bit of time waiting for our tires to get changed over, because I was like, I know a patch is good, but a plug, but I'm not driving home. And especially because our next trip is like far away. There's no service there and it's like a lot of dirt roads and stuff. So I was thinking, I don't want to drive, like that doesn't feel safe. So let's figure out whatever we can to get a new tire put on. And so that's happening now tomorrow. So not exactly the day that I had planned, and I didn't end up filming more bookstores and going to more bookstores, but I also have enough stuff now. I don't need to do any more shopping. I can just relax and read. But now of course I have all of these that I want to prioritize. This was an expensive day. Good thing I bought the books first, because I don't know how I would justify buying any of these after the expenses of my tire situation.
Take my hand and come with me. I swear you'll see good things.
Hello, I have made it to halfway through my book, and I will admit it's freaking me out a little bit. I don't know if it's the environment or what. I will say, like, part of me wanted to go forward with the like renting a haunted place for this video, but it would be really inauthentic because I don't believe in the supernatural, paranormal, ghost, anything. I don't believe in it at all. But part of me in picking this place, and there wasn't that many to choose from anyway, was in like the, ooh, it's an old barn, it's a little bit creepy, it'll go with the vlog vibes. I hate it here. I really hate it here. I think because I'm reading a scary book, and like that is just heightening my awareness of all of the like creaks and noises, and there's bugs in here, you guys. I've killed spiders, I've killed ants. I don't want to be here anymore. And also the listing said nothing about this being a 2-unit barn. There's a whole nother family staying below us, and I just don't like it. I don't like the noises. I keep thinking it's ghosts. I don't like it. All the creaks and voices are scaring me. I don't know if you can hear the maze runner on the other side of the wall. That's Rob and Liam watching it for the first time together. Everything in here is just really creaky and rickety, and the worst part, I hit my head earlier. I hit my head harder than I've ever hit my head before. Like, dong, like, oh my God, need to take a minute to collect myself. I'm starting to think that there is something going on. Like maybe my vehicle popping its tire was a message that we shouldn't have come here, that we weren't supposed to be here. We're in the middle of nowhere. And I'm telling you, I don't know how Gavin does it. Goes to these haunted locations by himself, because this isn't even haunted. I'm not by myself and I'm freaked out. Anyway, let's talk about my book. My book is the reason that I feel this way. Things are like changing. So it's got House of Leaves vibes a little bit. In fact, there are some little Easter eggs for House of Leaves, which I love so much. Occasionally we're getting messages, we're seeing messages on like a message board, or there are reports. There's a little bit of mixed media in here. People talking on the internet about how like they all, you know, a different Mandela effect about toys. And then in the main narrative, our character is talking about a toy she used to have that fits with the toy that they're talking about in the message boards that like should have never existed. So there's this idea of things changing over time. And the guy who comes to stay in the house, you know, he wasn't supposed to stay, he just wanted to visit, and now they stayed for a while. He's talking about how somebody he grew up with felt that way about the house, that things were changing, they were unexplained, and nobody else ever believed him. And now I think we're getting that idea. I don't think it's not the house that's necessarily changing. It's just like things don't make a lot of sense. Things may be changing in different people's realities. And I'm just very invested. And I think there have been some chilling scenes. Just not scary moments, not jump scare moments, but ominous, like walking somewhere and hearing a dripping and then turning around and nobody's there. Like there's been a lot of that, and the vibes are immaculate, so much so that I don't think I can finish this tonight. Like I am nervous, but I also have nothing else to do. They're on a movie marathon. They're halfway through the second movie, so they still have like 3 hours of film watching to go. What am I gonna do? Like I'm obviously gonna keep reading this. I can't sit out there because everything here is so uncomfortable. This bed specifically in the listing was called, in quotes, comfy. Super comfy bed. This is the worst bed I've ever lied on in my life. I'm gonna wake up with so much back pain. The futon is even worse. Poor Liam out there. It's creaky, it's painful. I feel so bad. If we were staying more than one night, I absolutely would be leaving early tomorrow. We have to leave early tomorrow anyway because I have to go get my tires changed. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna keep reading. Nothing scary has happened. Like really nothing scary has happened. My response to this is not correct. But the fact that occasionally there's like a spider crawling on me, I can't deal with it. And even like in here, there are so many spots on the wall. I don't know if you can see, but it's just old and like out of the corner of my eye constantly I'm like, is that a spider? Is that one a spider? I don't want to sleep here. I can't wait to wake up and get the fuck out. Also, there's no lights in here. Like there's just this sad little lamp beside me, but there's a light switch on the wall and it does nothing. Okay, anyway, I'll see you in the morning if I make it that long. I was just telling them there's spiders everywhere.
What up there? Is that a spider?
Where? What is that? What is that? We have to leave. Oh. Why is it so big? Never been happier to leave somewhere. Top 5 worst sleeps. Spooky shed. Door in the tree. Say goodbye to our haunted accommodation.
I hate it there.
Wait, no one told me it was also a ping pong lounge. We found a haunted mini golf, so nothing could be more on brand for the vlog.
In the courtyard, they witnessed black shadows.
Why are these doors opening on their own?
See, they have a phone holder so you can take a picture on the couch.
The devil.
I don't like this room. There's weird dinner on the table. And scary. She's so scary. No.
This is 3. Nice, good job.
I keep finding these haunted experiences to go to, like the bookstore, the golf. That was really fun. Highly recommend. I also got my tires finished. The Canadian Tire we went to, terrible. It took them 4 hours when they quoted us like an hour and a half. I'm trying to find my book. It's now 3 p.m. and our next vacation spot is like an hour and a half away. So we're gonna head over there, grab groceries. Boys are getting booster juice right now. And I finished this. And I think I'm giving it a 5. I don't regret not picking it as a book club because I think beyond just conversations of your theories at the end and like kind of what you assumed was going on throughout it, there's not a lot of plot to talk about. It's just a kind of fever dream, which is fun, which means I'm gonna be able to recommend it to a lot of people who are looking for that quality. With that said, I know this is Gabby's book club pick and I'm excited to watch the live show to see how everybody felt about it. I feel like this could be one that she also gives a high rating. I hope. It's set in the Pacific Northwest, so it's close to like where I live, and also a lot of the names of the places in here are similar to the ones near where I am. Pause for the cop car. Get out of his way. There was just a big fight at the Circle K. I don't know what was happening, but there was a lot of screaming. There was a man with a pizza hat on. Oh my God, he lives in Vancouver. Crazy. So the women in here, I think like this is the one that is under the production company of Blake Lively, and I'm interested to see if she's gonna play Eve, who's the main character. It's the only person I would imagine her playing. While there are other women in it, like that seems like who you would cast Blake Lively as. She's in a relationship with a woman. I don't think it's specified their like exact sexuality on page. There was stuff actively in the plot about that and how the family who came had these certain religious values that they were questioning the women on, and like, do your parents support you? Is this really who you are? And kind of challenging them in that way. So I'm interested to see how the movie does that and what exactly is gonna go on in that respect. I liked this a lot. Obviously it did make me skeeved out at times, and maybe that was my environment. Very happy to have read this, not just because I liked it, but because I gave it a 5, and that doesn't often happen for haunted house books. And so now I've accomplished it, and I feel no pressure in the vlog to find a 5-star, because there's a lot of recommendations out there of like the perfect haunted house book, and they often, the ones that get recommended, don't end up being my perfect haunted house book. This was definitely haunted, but not in like a traditional, people move into a house for the first time and they start to hear ghosts. Like, it was a little more complex than that. And that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I got. And now I don't feel like I have to now go to all of like the most popular haunted house stories to prove that like I found the perfect one or that I don't like the traditional ones. Like, we're good here and I can just read some silly stuff moving forward.
Okay, here's our next place we're staying. I hear goats somewhere. Every single room is separate, so you hang out outside and then you can go in each individual room. There's a sauna, there's a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom. Definitely doesn't feel very haunted, but I guess we'll see. Forget ghosts. The scariest thing in this video is my appearance. I've been in the woods for days, and today we hiked to Mystic Beach. I've wanted to do some of Juan de Fuca for a while, and it didn't work out last time, so this time we finally did it. It was beautiful. It was hard on my knees. I will most definitely bring a walking stick next time. Every other person we passed had one. It was a good time, but it was difficult at moments. And then what else have we done? We've used a sauna. I took a bath and read one story from here. I brought this specifically because I thought, let me find some short story collections that have individual haunted stories. And I've been using that Goodreads feature where you can search words in a review. So I've been searching the word haunted in a lot of my short story collections. And I just want to read during this vlog the ones that are mentioned as haunted house stories. So in this one, it was called My Neighbor's, what was it? The Neighbor's Courtyard was the haunted story in here. And I think, yes, you could interpret it as haunted, but there's like a lot of answers that it could be. This is a collection by Mariana Enriquez, and I read Our Share of Night by her and loved it. This is translated by Megan McDowell, as well as like all of her work. I'm gonna give that story like a 3.5. It was about a woman who worked for a company that helped at-risk children and people who have been sex trafficked and stuff. And because of that, her husband believes that it's impacted her mental health, and she's having hallucinations of a child next door who has been chained up. And so she goes to investigate that situation. Of course, it's only a couple pages, so that's all I should tell you. It was bringing attention to something important, and I think what I've heard about her short story collections is that it's a lot about Argentina in general and how haunted it is and the horrific things that have occurred. And I think this collection will be good. That one, it was good. It was obviously uncomfortable, and even more uncomfortable than you might expect, which is like good because she can pull that off, but not something that I actively wanted to read. It accomplished its goal. It just wasn't my favorite. So this is my last update here. I'm actually working on another video a little bit, and then I will see you back at home when I figure out something else I'm gonna read. All right, I tried out 2 different books this morning, and it's so hard because I want to read this. I want to read Incidents Around the House. I tried out the audiobook last month and I absolutely hated it and I refused to listen to it. So it would have to be a physical read, in which case I just have to be like really enamored and really want to be in it to focus all of my physical attention on this today. And I just don't know that it's doing that for me. And it's frustrating because like I want to read it. It doesn't help that every review I've seen of it is like a 3 or a 4 star, and that just doesn't give me the motivation, knowing that it probably won't be a 5. But I did read the first 50 pages of that, and then I also read the first 50 pages of this, and this is just what did it for me. And I hope that this isn't a letdown. I feel like it could be. This again doesn't have great ratings, but it also doesn't have very many readers. It's called Grimroot by Bonnie Jo Stufflebeam. I can't even remember where I saw this or what, like where it came from, but it's about a reality dating show in a haunted house. So it's The Bachelor, like it is The Bachelor, but they call it The Groom. And we're following, there's like 5 women left in the competition when the book opens, but we only have 2 POVs. They are Linda and Sabrina. So I feel like they're gonna be the last 2 up for this guy's love and attention. And he's just into like, far into the competition, he lets them in on the fact that he's into like some weird haunted stuff. And so the next section of the competition is going to be at this supposed haunted house. And that's where they're traveling to right now at 50 pages in. And I think it's gonna be a goofy horror. Like obviously I'm not supposed to take this very seriously. And that's historically not something that I love, but I want to like this. I don't read fame adjacent books, but I seem to pick up a lot of reality show adjacent books. And I can't think of any that have been 5 stars. In fact, most of them have really let me down. And this kind of feels like it's going to give me what I wanted from Patricia Wants to Cuddle, which I do still broadly recommend, but it just wasn't my favorite. The writing is good so far. I just wonder if it's going to be a little bit long. Is it going to drag? I'm already getting apprehensive about it, which isn't a great way to go into a physical read, but we'll see. I'm very excited to see what happens in here. So this is what I'm going to be reading today and maybe tomorrow. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I'm now halfway through 100 more pages than I was before, and it's not really the tone that I was expecting, nor what I was promised. It says it's humorous, it says it's funny, and obviously it's haunted, so I was expecting some scares. We haven't gotten that yet, and I don't know, like I don't think we're gonna get the satire that I was expecting. Nothing seems over the top and ridiculous. Like these girls all have depth to them. We're going through the motions of this reality show that feels like ridiculous, but also rooted in the reality of reality TV. It hasn't been funny. There definitely hasn't been anything funny happening. They have arrived at the house and it has some like creepy things going on with it, but not in a scary way yet, just in like a weird, oh, that's weird that the walls are like dripping pink liquid. A little bit unsettling to the contestants, but definitely nothing for the reader to be like concerned about. I'm interested to see where it's gonna go. I'm obviously not gonna finish it tonight because it took me all day. I was reading something else, but it's taken me a very long time to get through this. I think I'll try to hit like maybe 50 more pages if I really lock in. And then the last 100 or so I will read tomorrow. And I think I'll wrap up the vlog. Oh wait, but I also have this one just sitting on the floor next to me. I think I'll grab the audiobook and see what I think of it and if I want to read this as well. Because I was originally planning on it, but in this moment I can't even remember what it's about. Okay, here's where we're at. I cannot turn off my AC today. It's not one of those days. I'm so sorry if it's bothersome. I have been busy getting Liam ready for back to school. A lot of back to school shopping. I think we're done. And he just had his, he had an optometrist appointment. He had an orthodontic appointment. And now he's getting his perm refreshed. And I'm gonna read a little bit while he's in there. I'm committed to finishing 2 books today because I'm now currently reading 2 books, which was not the plan. But I was getting a little bit bored of this and I decided to just pick up the next thing that I wanted to read, knowing that I was gonna come back to this one. So I'm not quite 3/4 of the way through Grim Root, but I have the audiobook going of Withered. I wanted to make sure that I read something that was diverse because there's just not a lot of haunted house stories that I haven't already read that are diverse, and this one has a non-binary main character. Our author is trans non-binary. A.G.A. Wilmot. This is Withered. It's feeling very YA. The main character, Ellis, they are 18, just out of high school, but it's that really typical teen story of going back to your family, your mom's small town where she left behind her demons, and you are now making new friends and just having to get to know a new house, and you moved into the haunted house and everyone in the neighborhood knows that it's the haunted house. It's reading very youthful, and I am just at 40 pages and I decided to tab and say one of these people is a ghost. They are meeting far too many characters for none of them to be ghosts. This is like objectively a haunted house, but also like haunted town story. The house is affecting the town and like everybody knows in the town that the house is haunted. This one I just don't know how to feel about. I don't know if the writing is really appealing to me. It's reminding me of what's it called? Welcome to Adamsville by Francesca Zappia. And then, so I put this one down for a second, pick this one back up, and there's a female-female relationship in here. And I love that concept because like
on the, you know, male-female reality show, like how fun is it, the concept there is a relationship going on the periphery. So now apparently like 3 queer horror books have happened for me in this video. What a joyous time we're having. I wish I was liking both of these though. I think gonna like read both of them today. I have nothing to do once we get home but focus on these. So hopefully they turn out well, and if they don't, I also have a backup. I just stopped at the library for something else, and this was sitting on the bookshelf, The House of Last Resort by Christopher Golden. I have strongly disliked a Christopher Golden, and then I DNF'd another Christopher Golden. So this is not a good idea, but I know that a lot of people are talking about it. I think his books are too slow and descriptive in not like the horror elements, but just like too much atmosphere that doesn't matter instead of plot. And I can't say that for every single one of his books. So I figured let's try one more. People are talking about this one. If I don't give it a go, maybe someone will mention it and be like, what about that new Christopher Golden everyone is going gaga for? Gaga for? Never used that phrase in my life. Anyway, I have to run into the drugstore while I wait also, because I just picked up one of these from Rimmel. It's their Kind and Free line, and this is like perfect. Cheeks and lips. I'm obsessed and I need all the colors. Don't worry, I'm not gonna go in looking like this.
Closing out the vlog with not the best news. The drugstore didn't have the stuff I was looking for, and I DNF'd this after 10% because it was just really slow. Nothing was happening. And I do get that there needs to be setup in a haunted house story, but I can just tell from the beginning if it's gonna be my taste or not, I think a lot of the time. And while I love the cover and I wanna own this, I wanna love it, it just didn't have like the tense gothic atmosphere that it could have coming to this house for the first time. They're moving to Sicily, this couple, and just like there's an earthquake as soon as they get there, and then they were buying groceries, and just the description of what was happening was very dull, and they kept replaying their relationship dynamics, why they're perfect for each other, and I was just bored, but I'm sure it could work for somebody else. And then I finished both of these, and I'm giving them both 2.75. For both of them, it took a while for the haunting and the paranormal to really become a part of the story. And unfortunately, by the time that comes in, I already was not loving either of them. So then the scariness comes into it, and that's either gonna make or break the book for me. And in both cases, it broke it because they just didn't do it in the way that I had hoped. This one had some nasty scenes. I think the most gross one had to do with an animal, and it wasn't really for me because it just felt like it was thrown in there for the gross factor. It didn't feel genuine to the plot or important to the plot. It was really random, and I was more confused about why we needed to read it. And just overall, while I was intrigued by the first quarter, the middle chunk was too boring before it got gory and interesting. And you could say that about some of my other favorite horror books, that they are dull and that not a lot happens, and then it's like wild and crazy at the end. While that's true, I have to be enjoying like the writing style, the characters, and just the way that the book is stylistically done in order to wait that long for grand things. And this just didn't do it for me. It also like was not camp. I thought this would be a campy horror book. It's not. It was not like the self-aware kind of wink to the audience. It wasn't satire. It wasn't over the top. It just was. And for me, the biggest failing with a haunted house book is when it doesn't give an explanation of why the people can't leave. There's a lot of reasons that could be given for why you're stuck in this house. Like the house is controlling your mind. The ghosts are controlling you. You feel like you're lost and confused, and that's why you stay. Or like, sure, you're in the middle of nowhere and there's nowhere to go, but then like some people do leave, and like even if there's some natural, I don't know, it's like people hike for hours, days. Like if you really wanted to get away, you could have just walked. If you were truly in danger and it was just survival mode and there was nothing for you to do, like you could have walked. You could have walked away for a long time, but you could have walked. And no, that wouldn't have been a good book because the plot wouldn't have been interesting then, but that you have to have a reason why you're like trapped in this house. There were some ridiculous scenes in here, but more just confusing. Like they were in danger, like they were surviving, and then suddenly they had to complete like an obstacle course, and not as a part of the show, just as a part of the book. Like it was just something they had to do for no reason. I could see other people liking this. I just don't think that everything made sense to me. And then we didn't get enough backstory as far as the reason for the paranormal stuff and how it was all connected to who it was connected to. And then with Withered, it was just Scooby-Doo at the end of the day. It was just a group of kids who thought they knew something paranormal and they had to investigate, and whether or not it proves to be true, the big explanation happens and then everybody like gets what they want in the end. The mom not having her own storyline in here, I think was the most disappointing, because that's what would have made it feel adult, but it really was just Alice's story. I think the paranormal element of this will work for a lot of people. It just didn't meet its fullest potential for me. The writing was not my favorite. I think the best part of this was randomly I was reading a page and the music that I was playing on my playlist was the same artist that was mentioned in the pages. There's like movie references, music references, really getting you in like the teen mind and like what they're into, establishing this character and like what they care about and how all their friends, like the reason why they're all gonna be friends. And they mentioned a musical artist whose name I can't even pronounce, so I'm not gonna try. But I was listening to that same thing and it felt like kismet or frightening. Anyway, I do feel compelled to read more, but I'm gonna cut myself off from the blog because I already had a 5 and I just need to put it in my little tier ranking of I have found another 5-star haunted house, especially considering House of Leaves. Like, yes, it's a haunted house book, but it may not be what everyone's expecting a haunted house book to be, so it doesn't feel correct to be like my #1 recommendation for a haunted house. If you want to recommend me your favorite housey books down below, I will read through your comments. Maybe I will come back to this idea in the future and read more. I am reading some novellas in October, so if you have any short haunted house stories, even if they're in like anthologies, that would be great to hear. Yeah, other than that, I will see you for another vlog soon. Bye!